5 curious facts you didn't know about Bible stories. Discover 5 surprising aspects of biblical stories. The antiquity of the Book of Job, the colorful tale of Joseph, the touching friendship of Ruth and Naomi, the shared authorship of the Book of Acts and the Gospel of Luke, and the impressive longevity of Methuselah. Immerse yourself in these narratives that have transcended time and culture. Number 1. The Book of Job is considered one of the oldest writings in the world. The Book of Job, one of the most enigmatic and profound literary treasures, is considered one of the oldest writings in the world. This work, found within the Bible, has fascinated theologians, philosophers, and literary scholars for centuries due to its narrative complexity and profound ethical and spiritual content. Job's narrative delves into the most distressing questions of humanity, suffering, justice, and the presence of the divine in the vicissitudes of human life. The story revolves around its protagonist, Job, a righteous and God-fearing man who, despite his integrity, faces overwhelming losses and immeasurable suffering. What is notable is that these adversities are presented not as a consequence of his actions but as part of a divine test, prompting reflection on the nature of suffering and justice. What makes the Book of Job particularly fascinating is its antiquity and literary style. Although it is challenging to pinpoint the exact date of its composition, many scholars place it several centuries before Christ, giving it a prominent place among the oldest known texts to humanity. Its language is poetic and often enigmatic, characterized by intense dialogues and rich symbolic imagery, which has been the subject of multiple interpretations over time. Number 2. The story of Joseph and his coat of many colors is found in the book of Genesis. The story of Joseph and his coat of many colors, one of the most vivid and moving narratives in the Old Testament, is found in the book of Genesis, from chapters 37 to 50. This tale stands out not only for its literary richness and emotional depth but also for the moral and spiritual lessons it has offered over the centuries. Joseph, the favored son of Jacob, is portrayed as a young man with prophetic dreams and a special talent for interpreting them. His father bestows upon him a coat of many colors, a sign of his preference, which arouses envy and resentment among his brothers. This coat, more than a mere garment, becomes a symbol of his unique destiny and distinguishing gifts. The outcome of his brothers' jealousy is dramatic. Joseph is betrayed and sold into slavery to merchants who take him to Egypt. Far from home and facing adversity, Joseph demonstrates unwavering resilience and faith. His ability to interpret dreams eventually leads him to gain favor with the Pharaoh, becoming a key figure in saving Egypt and his own family from a great famine. Number 3. Ruth and Naomi are an early example of female friendship in the Bible. This narrative stands out not only for its antiquity but also for the depth of the bonds that unite these two women, marking an early and significant example of female solidarity and loyalty in religious literature. Ruth, a Moabite woman, finds herself in a precarious situation after the death of her husband, who was the son of Naomi. Instead of returning to her home and seeking a new life in Moab, Ruth chooses a path of uncertainty and challenge by deciding to accompany Naomi back to Bethlehem. This selfless and courageous act of loyalty is expressed in her now iconic words, "Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God." Ruth's choice to remain with Naomi, giving up her homeland and any possibility of a safer future, is a testament to the depth of their friendship and commitment. Together, they face adversity in Bethlehem, a society that views them with suspicion, and where they must struggle for their survival. The Book of Ruth not only recounts the loyalty and mutual support between these two women but also highlights how their relationship challenges and transforms the social norms of their time. Their friendship becomes a means through which God blesses them both, leading Ruth to marry Boaz, a relative of Naomi, and to become the great-grandmother of King David, a crucial figure in Messianic genealogy. Number 4. The Book of Acts was written by the same author as the Gospel of Luke. The Book of Acts, a literary gem of the New Testament, shares a fascinating authorial connection with the Gospel of Luke, both attributed to Luke the Evangelist. This connection is not merely a matter of authorship but also reveals a deep thematic and stylistic cohesion between the two texts, offering an integrated view of the beginnings and expansion of early Christianity. Luke, considered by many scholars as a meticulous physician and a detailed historian, embarks on a narrative in these two books that not only documents events but also emphasizes the universality and accessibility of the Christian message. While the Gospel of Luke focuses on the life, ministry, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, offering a compassionate and detailed perspective on his teachings and miracles, the Book of Acts serves as a natural sequel. In it, Luke narrates the ascension of Christ and delves into the early years of the church, highlighting the missionary work of figures like Peter and Paul. What makes these two texts particularly interesting is their narrative coherence. Luke not only continues the story where he leaves it in his Gospel but also maintains a consistent literary style and a coherent theological focus. Both books are dedicated to Theophilus. Luke, chapter 1, verse 3, Acts, chapter 1, verse 1, suggesting that they form a dual work aimed at instructing and strengthening the faith of Theophilus and other readers. Number 5. Methuselah is the longest-lived person mentioned in the Bible. Methuselah, a biblical figure shrouded in mystery and reverence, is recognized as the longest-lived human being mentioned in scriptures. His life, which extends to 969 years according to the biblical account, is not only a testament to longevity but also a fascinating reflection of a very different era in human history. Methuselah, whose name is synonymous with an extraordinarily long life, appears in Genesis, within the lineage of Adam. Methuselah's life, beyond its impressive duration, intertwines with the stories of other notable biblical characters. It is interesting to note that his death is mentioned in the context of the universal flood, leading some scholars to speculate about the connection between his passing and this catastrophic event. Although the Bible does not go into details about his life or the significance of his longevity, the number of his years has been a subject of fascination and study. Methuselah's age has intrigued theologians, historians, and curious individuals alike. Some argue that pre-Diluvian lifespans could have symbolic interpretations or reflect different systems of time measurement. Others see in these figures a deeper message about the relationship between man and the divine and nature at the dawn of human existence.